Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. So, Sean, you were definitely right about this episode. I enjoyed this episode. I really did. Let's just get this part out the way. Because this was the one part where I was just like, everything else is kind of falling in place. And we got kind of this one little bit of a speed bump. And that's the Curtis and Portia part of this episode. I didn't really understand asking Curtis about his childhood when he practically was like, his childhood was like rocky or whatever. And she was like, so just, tell me about your childhood. I'm like, I don't know. It's just not something that I would sit there and press if I know someone had like, something going on in their past and stuff. Like when when I feel like they're ready to tell me, they'll tell me. But just sit there and randomly ask, like, oh, so what was going on with your childhood? Like, talked about that. They talked about art, and I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really enjoy it too much. But what was interesting was the guy that kept staring at them the entire time. The guy that was just sit there spying on them the last 15-20 minutes of this episode. So I'm intrigued about that. I am. They talked about Stella, and listen, I get that this woman did a lot, and she sacrificed a lot. She raised those two boys like it was her own kids and everything like that, and I think that's really great. And they're giving her all this respect and everything like that, and I'm pretty sure it's all like deserved for what she did, and I give her credit for that. But I mean, let's be honest, I never really fully liked Stella anyway. Especially when she used to go on her little tirades. So it's not to say, oh, she's brave and she respects and this, that, and the third. It's like, yeah, okay, yeah, we get it. Sure, a statue for her. Is that fine with that? That shut you two up? I just, like I said, I give her props for what she did. Wasn't easy, especially back in those days, and giving up, the love of her life practically, or just really great guy to sit there and raise these two kids. It definitely deserves a lot of respect, especially given the fact that it wasn't even her kids. Like, it was somebody else's kids, and, well, they practically checked out. So I give her a props for that, but after that point, I was like, I'm kind of over this. Now, it seemed like Jason, Britt, Spinelli, and Scotty were playing catch up to another scene that they were already at. So there's that they're trying to find Obrick. And I'm not gonna lie, there's one part where, Spinelli's like, alright, so in order for me to sit there and do a deep dive, whatever, I gotta go through, your computer history. You're like, whoa, what are you doing? Like, bro, listen, it's 2021. Alright? The point is not that big of a deal. Alright, we're trying to find this woman to make sure that she's alive. No one cares about your kinks and your fetishes and all this other stuff. We're just trying to get from point A to point B to find this woman. I did find that kind of fun. Because I partly was like, bro, what, what are you watching? I mean, it's all, in all fairness, I mean, to each his own. To each his own. I don't really sit there and try to shame anyone for watching whatever they watch, because it's, at the end of the day, you do what works for you. But I just found it really funny, just that adverse reaction is, whoa, you gotta look at my point, you gotta look at my browser history, I don't know about that. I mean, there's another way you can sit there and go around that. It's just his adverse reaction was just funny as hell. They did find the person who, well, he didn't get a name, but he did find the location of, the spyware that was in Scott's computer, which is in Greece. So, okay. And speaking of Greece, I'm assuming that's where they are. Peter, my guy Peter. I'm telling you, he'll make a great Bond villain. I'm not even into James Bond, but if they made a James Bond movie and he was the villain, I would watch it. So, Victor's all like, I got my men surrounding you. It's a wrap. I mean, it's pretty much any last words you want to sit there and say. And, you know, Peter's at there faking like, no, I got the key. All right. And then he just flips it all around. And now the men work for Peter because, of course the men work for Peter. Oh, was even one soldier that felt like he seemed like he was a little kind of, like sad about betraying him or whatever. And he did give Valentine like, yo, listen, you backed the wrong horse. That's all I'm gonna sit there and say. Next thing you know, they bring Victor into Valentine's area, and Peter's right there. It's like at this point, Valentine's like, yep, I should have saw this coming. I mean, hell, Victor did sit there and say, hey, I need your help to sit there and take care of this Peter problem. He just didn't know that it was already too late from jump. So, I'm going to be honest, I never liked the name Scout, like, ever. I mean, let's be honest, Scout was a name that, I think Danny came up with. Because Danny wanted a dog, and somehow that translated into, it's a good idea? Let me name my daughter Scout, not Emily, which would make more sense. No, we're just going to go with like the worst name possible that I can sit there and think of. Even Luis isn't as bad as Scout. I mean, it's just a terrible name. The hell was I going with this? Oh, so Drew and Lisa was sitting there talking about his mind control or whatever, and Lisa was like, listen, if you have something to focus on your daughter and everything like that, it may help you survive. It may help you, like not be brainwashed or whatever, which really didn't matter because the minute that they sent Lisa away and, Peter was there and he was saying something, but he wasn't meant to give him the trigger word. He was like, you're here. And then Drew just jumped him. So I was like, well, I guess we could have just kind of left that whole mental conditioning thing just out the window. All you had to do was just shut him up. So, alright, cool. Now I'm not going to lie. He seemed like he had him at one point. And of course, at some point, you do get Dante and Sam because they get benched. But then they talk to the one, I guess, guy that he used to work for, who used to work with Dante. And he's, because at this point, Anna's like, yo, listen, I don't want you two going near this whole thing. So they pretty much get this guy to babysit him. And long story short, they do, well, at this point, because Dante was like, I feel really bad if we just, like, knock him out or whatever. So they just tried to reason with him and tell him the truth. Like, yo, listen, it's my how do I sit there and say this without sounding, my daughter's father. I didn't want to sit there and use the other word. I'm going to sit there and say it. I didn't want to use that word. But, they pretty much just reasoned with the guy and try to make him see like, yo, Drew needs to be reunited with his, daughter, and we're gonna sit there and try to make that happen. And he allows them to escape, so he's gonna be sitting there cleaning some toilets or something. You disobey Anna like that. Anyway, they get there, and now of course you got the guard holding Valentine and Victor, captive or whatever, and Drew comes out of nowhere, just walks right in the room. Bang! Shot him in the leg. That's it. So they get to a point where Robert and Anna get outside. I'm sitting there thinking, they're checking corners and then they stop. And I'm like, you have a really good shot at taking out both Robert and Anna. What are you waiting for? But Drew and Valentine come along, and so now they're kind of exposed at this point. You know, they're walking up this bridge, and then out of nowhere, Peter just shoots Valentine in like the chest pretty much, and then takes out Drew. And they both fall into the water at that point. And I'm not gonna lie, this was literally towards the end, and both of them just go down, and I'm like, well, okay, so what's gonna happen next? Well, then it just ends, and well, that pretty much ends that. That pretty much just ends that at that point. You know, I'm not gonna lie. I know that the episodes have been like moved back a little bit because of news coverage and stuff like that, but I feel like this was an episode that was meant for Friday. Which, in reality, I'm kind of happy that it didn't last for Friday, because then I would have had to wait 2 whole days, and I didn't really... I felt like this was going to be a good cliffhanger Friday moment, but again, it just worked out for today, so that's cool. I'm not gonna lie, I feel like that's pretty much about it. I really do. I mean, the Portia and the Curtis stuff just seemed kind of like... not a time waster, but kind of like a placeholder, you know? And you always will get these group of people or this couple or whatever when you just have a scene where it's just literally there to just, I don't know, hold the place until other stuff happens. So, let me see if I missed anything. And even, here's the thing, even when you look at the whole Spinelli and Jason and Britt and Scotty thing, you have, it's pretty much like you have one team that got the location of Grease to sit there and find Liesl. But then in some ways it kind of makes it kind of a moot point, because you already have Dante and Anna and everyone else already at Grease to sit there and look for Valentine, and of course Liesl's already there. So in a lot of ways it kind of makes the first team, or like Jason and the other people, kind of be like, alright, this is cool and it's kind of funny, but it's like, they already got people there to look for them, so why are we like spending time on you people? I mean, don't get me wrong, everyone knows at this point, you know, my love for Jason and, you know, Spinelli and everyone else, but it just kind of makes it kind of a moot point if you, if that makes sense. I'm not gonna lie, I feel like there's more, but I always feel like there's more. Anyway, before I go, I just want to thank everyone for, well, obviously watching my video, just now in general, just supporting and everything like that. Also for coming on my live, because that was the first live that I actually did on YouTube. And I plan on doing more of them. I have some fun ideas. I know I'm gonna sit there and try to do lives at least once a week. I'm still, it's weird, because I go on Instagram all the time, I go on live all the time, but YouTube is like, it's a totally different animal, and it's like you can't go on live unless you have a certain amount of subscribers, and I guess I must have passed the 500 mark or whatever, so now they'll allow me to go on live. So if they allow me to actually post on a community tab, then I can actually post the dates, the times when I'm, you know, I'm going to be going live and stuff like that. So, still figuring it out. But, you know, every now and then I'm going to sit there and go on live at least once a week. So, you know, if you want to sit there and join, just talk about soaps or talk about whatever, any topics or whatever, it's nothing off limits, unless, you know, or unless I, you know, choose a specific topic, or somebody choose a specific topic. I'm still kind of working that whole thing out, since, again, today is my first live. So, yeah, enough of me rambling. So with that being said, I'm going to go. Thank you for watching. Be safe. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. See you next video.